सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। I'm chanting 11 to 14. देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ। इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्. So continuing from yesterday, we are seeing an important topic of yajna as a specialized form of action, karma, whose praman is Vedas. Ved have elaborated various yajnas as obligatory to be done for a simple reason that they produce Drishtaphalam and Adrishtaphalam, and both are beneficial for the existence of life in totality for all life forms till the entire creation is alive, has a span, and it is also beneficial at an individual level for one's own peace and whatever one needs requires. It's a fulfiller. Most importantly, through the same karma, if you do not do it with Sakama Drishti, doing it with Nishkama Drishti will become the means for your spiritual advancement. Spiritual advancement in Vedanta is not an ambiguous term. It is very well understood as having knowledge of your own nature, of your own existence. Vedanta describes that existence in completeness. So, knowing that existence, the effect of that knowledge is that one is freed of all forms of limited existence. Limited means in time and in space. An existence which is defined by time and space. One gets freed of it all, which means your actual nature, Vedanta clearly puts forth as that which is free of time and space and is eternal, is ever present, is undecaying, is changeless, and being eternally available, it is even now present. It is the base of your entire limited existence. Without your unlimited pure existence, you cannot even have this limited existence now that you feel as I am, this name and this form. So yajna is very specialized form of karma. It is also an expression of karam yoga. So on one hand, the Shastra is telling us here, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling us, even for the sake of the sustenance of creation, one must abide in one's own ordained karmas that are ordained by the Vedas. There is a cycle that he's going to talk of in 14th and 15th verse. If one takes yajna in its symbolic figure, when it's meant for chitta shuddhi, one method of chitta shuddhi that it provides is the adrishta phalam, and another method that it provides with is that within one's own self, one's own mind, antakaran, our own impurities are seen by us. We recognize our limitations. We recognize our own disturbances, the causes of it to some extent we identify. But the fact is, whatever we identify as the source of our disturbance and we attribute that source within our own self, and that is our own impurity that we have accumulated by our own wrong thinking and perceptions and feeding our likes and dislikes, etc. Those impurities we offer in the symbolic yajna within our own self for the sake of shuddhi. So those karmas which are performed in such manner also can be called as arpanam, Ishwara arpanam, for the sake of Ishwara. Karmas done for the sake means I offer it for Ishwara, to Ishwara, and those karmas then become yoga. They become helpful for one's own inward journey to identify who we are and dismiss the false notion, the false knowledge of who we presume that we are, which is this name and form. So Bhagwan has started that cycle. In the yesterday I said we'll take up yes, this explanation where the Sakam and the Nishkam are made distinct. He says just phala sandhi, फल से जुड़ के कोई भी कर्म किया हुआ हो वो कर्म बंधन देता है क्योंकि वो फल बंधन देता है. दैट इज कॉल्ड काम्य कर्म. फल की कामना से किया हुआ कर्म काम्य कर्म. फल से अनभिसंधि, यू आर ब्रेकिंग द संधि, यू आर ब्रेकिंग द जुड़ना. मन में जो I am the doer, performer, and I'm performing for that fruit. When you break that thought and you disassociate your performance of your action with your result expectation, when you do that karma becomes Nitya karma. And abide in Nitya karma is what Krishna's message is to all of us as human beings. Now, even for the sake of yajna, when karmas are done, there is a misunderstanding that can come up because he said, Ishta Kama Duk. May these, I have created this Srishti with yajna and may it become your fulfiller of your desire. Ishta Kama Duk. As a fulfiller of desire, it is going to definitely appear as if it is a Kamya Karma. So Shastra says here, Acharyas here clearly specified for the sake of lot of clarity, we should not mistake that Ishta Kama Duk to mean Kamya Karma. It's a very subtle point. If you're following the thought, it'll give a lot of clarity. If it is missing at some point, don't worry about it. The basic essence is phala abhi sandhi se karam kiya hua kamya karam hai, phala anabhi sandhi se kiya hua nitya karam hai, nitya karam mein jude raho. That is the essence. But for fine clarity further, if one thinks that karma phala hetu, Krishna has already said do not work for karma phal. Here he is saying do nitya karam. फल से अनभिसंधि होके कर्म करो. Then why is he saying ishta kamadhuk? Yajna will become ishta kamadhuk. So to explain that, here some words which will give more idea. Atra yadyapi, here even though yajna grahanam avashyaka karma upalakshana artham is what is said. यज्ञ वर्ड इज टू बी टेकन एज, उस यज्ञ को समझने के लिए उसको शब्द को ग्रहण करो एज व्हाट आवश्यक कर्म. इट इज एन उपलक्षणा फॉर इट. इट इज अ उपलक्षणा would mean it is a pointer. It is a it is a representative of avashya karma. Yajna is a representative of those karmas that are avashyak to be done. Akarne pratyavayasya agre kathanat means if you do not do these karmas, you get a certain kind of a karma phal which is called pratyavaya, which is creates obstacles in the path. This is going to be said agre later on. That's not the topic here. Here the topic is yajna grahanam. By the word yajna, yajna means it represents avashyak karma. काम्य कर्मणां च प्रकृते प्रस्तावः न asti eva, not to be mistaken as kamya karmas, because in the previous verse Krishna has already said ma karma phala hetur bhuhu, do not act for the sake of karma phal. Where did he say that?
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, verse Mate sangostva karmani कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु
47
मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भुः मा ते संगोस्त्व कर्मणि. Correct. 47, verse 47, chapter 2, verse 47. Thank you. Both Bhavna and Divya. Yes. So he said here that ma karma phala hetu bhuhu, do not act for the sake of fruits. This has already been explained. Nirakritatvat. Having said that already. Tathapi, even then, nitya karmanam api anushangika phala sat bhavat. This is what was important. The idea was when I work for karma phal, I get karma phal. If I do nitya karma, how does it give me also what I want? Because he said, this yajna karma will be your ishta kama dukh also. So, what is the difference between kamya karma and yajna karma, which is also fulfilling me? Here, commentator says, means the Sacharya says, anushangika phala sat bhavat. Anushangika means incidental, byproduct, as an effect, side effect, as an extra effect. Yes. आनुषंगिक मीन्स आप कुछ कर रहे हो, उसके साथ एक और उसका साइड इफेक्ट है, इंसिडेंटल प्रोडक्ट है. हाउ डू यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट इंसिडेंटल फल? इंसिडेंटल फल है. यू आर नॉट वर्किंग फॉर इट. व्हाट आर यू वर्किंग फॉर? यू आर वर्किंग फॉर नित्य कर्म, आवश्यक कर्म, विद कर्म योग. यू आर ओनली डूइंग दैट. आपका ध्यान नहीं है फल पे. तो अगर फल पे आपका ध्यान ही नहीं है, यू डोंट हैव अटेंशन ऑन इट, योर अटेंशन इज entirely on the way in which you are doing your karma, you are fine tuning your attitudes only in the performance of your karma, and you've detached your mind from the fruit, thought of the fruit also. So how is the fruit coming? Because nitya karam may, in nitya karam, there is also an anushangika phala. Anushangika phal, a byproduct. I said in 2-3 classes before, in nitya karam, what is your byproduct? Anybody remembers? What is the main result of nitya karam? Chitta Shuddhi, correct. And what is the byproduct? Incidentally, what do you get also? Some little amount I had said. साथ साथ थोड़ा सा
desire, some desires get fulfilled.
Okay. How? You get some particular fruit. What is that?
Okay, yeah. So punya.
Punya. Correct. You get a little amount of punya along with it. That little amount of punya is incidentally acquired. It is not your main result. Your main gain of Nitya Karam is, yes, Chitta Shuddhi. The incidental is some punya gets acquired. Punya is another word for adrishta phalam, which is positive for you. The result will be positive for you. The result will be beneficial for you. उसको पुण्य फल कहते हैं. So नित्य कर्म में पुण्य फल is a byproduct. आनुषंगिक फल है वो. It comes as a along with. You don't have to work for it. It's embedded in it. And this is explained with a very beautiful Apastambha Smriti. It's one of the Smriti Granthas. And the example there is in the Smriti, Tad Yatha Amre Falarthe Nimitte Chaya Gandhau Anutpatyete Evam. This much first. Tat Yatha, just as Amre Phala. What is Amra? Amraphal? Anybody knows?
Amrit.
No.
Amrit Fal. Amrit.
No. Amraphal
Okay.
is, what did you say, Nehal?
Mango fruit.
Mango fruit. Correct. Mango fruit. Amre phala, the mango fruit. When you sow a mango seed, what do you desire? You desire a mango fruit. That whole action of producing a mango tree is for a mango fruit. Amre phalarthe nimitte. That amraphal becomes the nimitta. In that amraphal is the nimitta. Of what? Along with amraphal, you get something else also. What do you get? Chaya, gandha. Even these are produced. Anu utpadyete. Anu utpadyete means they follow. Utpadyete means what is the main utpadanam? What is the main produce? Amraphal was the main intention. Mango. Mango was the main intention. But following that, along with that, one also got additional benefit. In what form? Chaya, shadow. The mango tree gives a beautiful shadow which is very useful in summers. Gandha, a very sweet, aromatic, fragrant atmosphere. These are your anubhav experiences that are coming incidentally. You didn't work for it. In the same way, dharmam charyamanam artha. When you follow dharmas, whether dharma brings you the fruit or not, anutpadyante no chet anutpadyante anutpadyante no chet anutpadyante na dharma hanihi bhavati iti. Means when you are following dharma, means these karmas that you have to do, your own dharma, your own swadharma. जब अपना धर्म का पालन आप करते हैं, तब चाहे वो धर्म फल दे रहा है कि नहीं दे रहा है आपको लगे, बट धर्म में अपना फल जो आना है वो कभी नाश नहीं हो सकता. Means what? Now you continue that sentence. What is dharam means? Karam. Karam already has the law of giving the result. That result is definitely going to be coming as ordained in the very law of that karma. Is that okay? Means even when you are performing without phal ichha, anapi sahitasya api vastu swabhavat utpattau. By the very nature, you are going to get the fruit. इच्छा ना होने पर भी वस्तु के स्वभाव से यदि फल की उत्पत्ति हो जाए तो इससे कर्म में कोई भेद नहीं होता. मीन्स दैट धार्मिक कर्म done as nitya karam was supposed to give us chitta shuddhi, that will not get affected at all. As a byproduct, you also get the other fruits, and that is what he means by saying ishtakamadhuk. You will get your desired fruits. Clear so far, everyone? That's why I said it's a little
Yes, ma'am.
subtle, but it's very useful to build a conviction, because a lot of people in the world think कि हम ही अपना कर्म करते रहते हैं, हम ही ड्यूटी करते रहते हैं, and nobody appreciates us, nobody recognizes our effort, nobody, I don't get what I want, I'm always giving, nobody's giving back to me, nobody caters to me, why am I only always doing? All these are karma bandhan. These are your fruit expectations. If you actually just do your karma as you should be doing, just for the sake of doing the karma, then anushangika phalam, that word is beautiful. Understand that your doing your karma can only bring benefits back to you. You may not recognize them. It is ingrained in that karma itself. That karma will give you chitta shuddhi if done without fruit expectation. Along with it is producing those adrishta punya karmas like chaya of a mango tree, gandha of a mango tree. You are not perceiving them, you didn't look for them, but they just come your way. So your desires, that harmless desires that you would have in life, which you would have worked for otherwise in life, which you would have spent your time, energy, and acquiring skills for, maybe just to fulfill a few set of desires. If you give those result orientedness from yourself and act doing what you're supposed to do, incidentally those desires will get fulfilled. That is the whole, that we have explained it before, just revising it with the help of the text so that you know there is a praman there, there is a validity in the text in what you're hearing. It is not manokalpitam, it is not the uh, it's not an interpretation that you're hearing, it is the explanation that you are hearing, the explanation of the verse. So he says here now, this yajna, for the sake of yajna, perform your karmas because all other karmas will bind you. Ninth verse. Therefore, free yourself from this result, hope, expectation. And it is a practice. It can take some time, it can take a long time, it may take a little time. That time factor is a very individual um, factor, because how attached your personality is to work only for the sake of fruit, कितनी दृढ़ हो गई है वो वृत्ति आपके अंदर कि सिर्फ फल की इच्छा से ही मैं कर्म कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ, वो कितनी दृढ़ है, that much practice and time it will need to break the fal sang and continue work. Therefore, it becomes a sadhana, it becomes a tapas initially, especially till you have started seeing that this is actually freeing me. This is the only way I live freely. I live cheerfully. I can live objectively, because it's not that the fruits are not coming at all. It is just that I no longer work for them. They come. So slowly you start discovering there is more happiness in this method of living. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, up to the ninth verse, he's telling him, your duty is, as a Kshatriya here, it is your niyata karma, फल की इच्छा छोड़ के, it is a your dharma, do your dharmic karma. That dharmic karma, dharma means karma, not religion, but तुम्हारा धर्म बनता है ये, तुम्हारा कर्म बनता है ये. Therefore, act on it. Then he gives another level of reason from 10th verse. Actually, ninth verse continues into the 10th verse. So ninth can go into the previous verse and the next verse, building bridge. And that is, the whole creation I have made based on yajna. Therefore, even for the sake of the continuity of this स्थिति काल, मैंने सृष्टि बनाई है, मेरे लिए वो कर्म कर. So अर्पण बुद्धि अपने आप gets established. I am the one who is the originator of the creation. For its sustenance, I have created it with yajna. Therefore, you act on yajna for its sustenance, and that will be acting for my sake. You are acting for Ishvara. You are oblating your karma for Ishvara Srishti. Therefore, Saha Yajnaha, along with Yajna, since I have created it, you act on that, and your desires will also incidentally get fulfilled. Then Devan Bhavayatanena means these Devas, who are the Devtas, who are the receivers of the specific forms of yajnas, they will be blessed, they will be fulfilled, and because they are representing the elemental deities, the elemental powers in their maximum um, form, uh, the highest form of that elemental power is called that Devatas. You represent it as a Devata. They will also be regulated, and they will also return back to you what you require for your existence and sustenance. Therefore, mutually, in a way, you work for them and they work for you. In that way, may you live your life on these principles. Thereby, you will always be blessed with everything that you want when you want, as much as you want. And you will also be peaceful, and you will also be happy, you will also be harmonious. But it requires that level of that initial tyag is required over there for you to fall into the scheme of resistance free living in creation. So he says, if you do that, you get all these benefits. But there are people who are just enjoying the benefits that creation is offering them without returning back anything on their part that they have to do as a duty. Then they are called stena. They are enjoying without uh, giving back. They are thief. Once you are eating the produce of yajna, someone's working but you are adding nothing to it and you're just enjoying it, then you are actually only adding your own papam. You are only adding your own klesha. You are accumulating difficulties in your life. You are accumulating a difficult life in the future. You are accumulating a difficult karma phala that will produce difficulties in life, that will produce struggles in life, that will produce uh, unhappiness, etc. Because without giving back, if you are living, then you are getting disharmony that disharmony with creation, in creation, brings difficulties. That is what we mean by resistance free living. Means you fall in the chakram. He'll talk in the 16th verse later also. This chakram that I have set, this wheel that I have set in motion in creation, it's based on yajna. If you follow these principles, you will get no resistance from creation. It'll be a smooth, harmonious thing, except for your own little karma phala that will give you a little pain, and but that pain would not be pain as in struggles or difficulties. They'll always come with some relief as well. They will not overbear you, overwhelm you if you are following these niyams. That is what we mean by resistance free living. I hope that's clearer. I'll repeat it once more. Since Bhagwan has set this creation in motion based on the principle of yajna, if I abide in that, as we have just seen, we live in harmony without ourselves, outside ourselves, and within ourselves. There'll be very little resistance from the world. There'll be very little resistance from within because you are following the chakram. You're a part of the chakram. You have not used your ahankar, you have not used your jivatvam to stand out of this chakram. You are following the niyamas of the chakram on which the creation is held. Therefore, you will not get too overwhelming a difficulty from creation. So that is what I mean by resistance free living. In fact, the opposite is true. The more you follow these principles in life, the more creation supports you. That's what we mean by it adds on to your goals, to your aspirations, to your fulfillments. It just makes life living very smooth in that sense, fairly smooth. Shastra will never claim that it can be completely freed of all difficulties. That is misleading a person. Life can never be freed of all difficulties. By each one's prarabdham, you will have something or the other that shapes up, that keeps expressing itself. But when you live with these principles, that prarabdha, when it manifests as difficulty, because you're already living in these principles, the help is also generated. So somehow both come together and that phase goes off without creating too much of a turbulent expression to life. Correct? So far, everybody? Should we move on? If anyone has a question so far, because now he's starting another very beautiful, in continuity with this, but it's a topic in itself. Continuing with the Agnya thought flow.
So far, so clear, ma'am.
Okay, great. So he said, yeah, we've done the Panchamahayagnas also. So now he says in the 14th verse, 14th and 15th verse come together. And this is what I'll call as a food cycle. Shastra says it's a food cycle. How creation is supported through yajna. This is the gist of these two verses. The entire creation is supported on yajna, and through that, Brahman is a constant establishment in creation. This is the gist, and that explanation will come now. I'm going to repeat these verses. I'll just chant them again. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhavaha yajnad bhavati parjanyaha yajnah karma samudbhavaha karma brahmodbhavam vidhi ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवं तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् अन्नात् bhavanti bhutani. I don't know how to bring two screens together, but I hope you all have your books so that the verses are in front of you. I'll just share a cycle. Okay. This is the two verses. You can refer to the book in front of you if you have. Annat bhavanti bhutani. Annat is food here. From food, bhutani, plural, all beings are produced. Beings are beings come through food. Food comes from rain. Annat, annat, unse. Bhutani bhavanti. The beings are there. Parjanyat is rain. Anna sambhavati. From rain, food comes. Yajnat bhavati parjanyaha. From yajna, rain is produced. Yajnaha karma samudbhavam. Yajna comes from karma. Karma brahmodbhavam. Brahma udbhavam. Brahmaji udbhavam. Along with creation, Brahmaji, when he said this, it comes from Brahmaji. And Brahmaji, another word, another meaning can also be Ved. Because Brahmaji holds Ved in his hands. Through Ved, that knowledge is called the knowledge of creation with which he creates is Ved. And so karmas come from Ved. Completes the cycle. Ved describes karmas to be done. Those karmas have yajna as a specific form of yajna, specific duties. Those duties, when yajnas are performed, rain is produced. Rain is produced, produces food. Food eaten produces beings. Now we'll go step by step. Annat bhavanti. Plants, we all know this through biology. I'm sure most, if we have studied it in school, that's actually a cycle explained here. Plants, the chlorophyll content of the leaves absorbs the solar energy and from the atmosphere carbon dioxide and takes the carbon part of it, gives out the oxygen, takes the carbon from the air, water from the earth, and mixes together within the plant. The mix happens: solar energy, carbon, water, and it produces all the sugars and juices and oils and what we call as annam, the nourishment, the nutrients, vitamins, everything is produced in the plant. That which is the nourisher, nourishment, is called annam, anna. That anna means it has this entire nourishment, which, when eaten by the beings, that digested food converts itself into bones, muscles, marrow, um, blood, and your reproductive elements in males and females. So, food is producing, eaten food. Milk is also a form of food. From the feminine gender, the milk is produced through food. The food that is ingested is producing milk. That's why it's in the category of food. This food is making the human body along with its reproductive elements, the essential elements. Through those, beings are produced. So, this cycle should be clear. From food, beings are produced. Food is produced from rain. In seeds, they have three parts, I believe. The outer is the husk, the outer protective layer, chilka, is छिलका इंग्लिश में क्या है? Is
Skin.
skin. Yeah, skin. Sorry, what other thing you said?
We call it na bran.
Bran, husk, bran. Okay, skin. The skin of the seed. Within the skin of the seed, there are these two things. The basic sapling ka material, seed coat. Yeah, the basic sapling material, and along with it, there is some. It's like a dehydrated. We are calling it dehydrated. Shastra Drishti, they call it. It's nutrient, not Shastra, Laukik Drishti. The nutrients that are there in the seed, but they're in a dehydrated form. So you have the sapling material and the nourishing material within the skin, and that's called a seed. The three components together are called a seed. As long as that nutrient material is dried, dehydrated, this seed is in a latent state. It is it is called achetana. It doesn't exhibit any form of life. Its potential of life is there. The seed is holding all the material that is required to express itself, to grow itself. But by itself, in this much, the seed which produced the plant and the fruit and the food for the beings, if it is just in that seed form, it is inert, achetan. It, it is not yet consumable. There is a very thin, it seems, very small, almost probably not visible to eyes, I would presume. It's sukshma, they say. There is a hole in it, in that seed. Through that hole, it absorbs water. When that water is taken, it comes in contact with the material inside. It churns the dried nutrient that was in the seed. It activates it, it swells it, it starts the process of making the seed now, starts the process of making it chetan, means exhibiting life. It starts when the material inside, dried material, has swelled up, it becomes the milk in the like a milk. It's a liquid which is nourishing the seed. It's milk in the seed. That milk is now helping the seed grow. It's now become chetan. Once the milk is consumed, the growth of the seed is that it starts producing roots. These roots are now going into the soil to absorb further nutrients. So while that latent, that was already there within the seed, while it is getting exhausted, the seed produces roots, and now through the roots it is going to come up. It's going to take the nourishment, and upward, the opposite end of the seed shoots towards the sky, takes the vertical growth, and the leaves start forming, the yellow green leaves. Now again, those yellow green leaves, the chlorophyll content of it absorbs at a right temperature. Even the seed activity needs a little temperature, the right heat. Um, so once the leaves are formed, now again the chlorophyll part, and again the cycle. This rain, water, activated the food part, and the food now is consumed, and the beings are growing and multiplying. So we've covered this much. This cycle is clear?
Yes, please.
Mhm.
Yes.
So from rain, food has come. From food, beings have come. Now rain comes from yajna. What is yajna? From the physical part of yajna, means the physical ritual of yajna, rain, uh, how do you put it? All water content on the planet, even the oceans, is actually rain. How did the rain get produced? From the creative elements, creation um, standpoint, whatever was a huge year, whenever the creation was formed, huge mass of gases, as science would explain to us today, and as it kept getting cooler and cooler, uh, it solidified, earth is produced, and as the earth, those elements are in functioning. Yes, the water cycle. uh, the the vapors created clouds because the cooling was happening. Those clouds then uh, got through the solar heat, have they get charged particles, and as they are cooling, rain comes when the pressure drops wherever there is gaps, and that rain is the entire water body on the planet, including oceans. So wherever there were hole, wherever earth has holes, water collects there. Now the same water has its own cycle. So with the sun there, the summer there, the heat there, the water again becomes vapor, and this vapor again becomes cloud, and the cloud again, through lightning and etc., again falls as the rain. So the rain cycle is there, water cycle is there. This rain is established in yajna. So what is happening in yajna? The very fire that is lit, the element fire which connects the two other elements which cannot be seen, which is space and air, you cannot see them. Fire is the first element that you contact. Then comes the grosser two elements which can be seen, which is water and earth. Now, in yajna, the oblations that are made, ahuti that is given. In this context, I'll limit the word for the sake of understanding. Say the samagri that is given, the nature of that process of offering is that there is more oxygen and ozone that gets created in the samagri that is put in, which also has a particular pleasing smell. That samagri has a gandha, has a smell, a good smell. This samagri means now what has the auspiciousness in it, the good smell is the auspicious part of it. Those yajnas means that wherever there was fires were lit, they created a higher concentration of oxygen and ozone. Now, having created the higher content of oxygen, again, you are creating the oxygenation process in the atmosphere, and same cloud, the vapors then becomes the clouds, and you get the rain. Through yajna, it enhances the purity of the atmosphere, the cleanliness of the atmosphere, and that helps through its oxygenation. It helps to now recreate the cycle, nourish the cycle. The acharyas would say, or the science is also telling us, the counter praman of it is. What is a counter praman means? Through vyatirek, through its opposite also, you can establish a fact. Wherever there is bad smell, wherever the environment is too polluted, they take the exam. The studies have happened in recent times. Whenever there were wars on the planet, including Mahabharat war, for many years there was no rain. There were severe drought-like conditions. There was no rain because in any war, because of all this polluted air and earth and all this that keeps decomposing, even the bodies are decomposing, etc., etc., that durgandh, as you call it, it prevents the formation of the rain cycle. So for the continuous purity of the atmosphere, for rains to come at the right time, yajna is a means. Yajna is to be done. This yajna is a form of karma. There are so many karmas that can be done. Other than yajna, also, we are doing many karmas. But those karmas, will they produce the cycle of sustenance? Do they add? Is it your contribution in the sustenance cycle? Because you are taking from the sustenance. Your food comes from rain and all the sacrifice that is happening in the in a non-human world, the entire ecological balance, as I've been saying, Shastra bases that ecological balance on human karma. It's the human responsibility, human beings' responsibility to maintain this cycle. And yajna is a part of it. So this is from the cycle part, because Krishna is talking about the creation. Now, where has yajna, knowledge of yajna come from? And there are specific yajnas for Varsha also, for rains also. Uh, there's certain homa that is done for producing rain. It was even recently, I believe, done in 2020 or 19, somewhere in Rajasthan, they did it. And wherever it is done, you will get rain. because of this physiological, no, not, you can't call it physiological, ecological changes that will happen. You're triggering an ecological change. And those yagnas are huge, of course. They are not the small ones that we do over the small kunds. Those are big. So they have a huge impact, larger impact. Over a certain area, it will have an impact. But that yagna are done at a microcosmic level, each one doing their own karma. At their levels, they are purifying their own unit in that sense. So if everybody is doing their karma, the entire atmosphere in that area is fairly cleaner. And therefore, the nature knows its own cycle. We don't have to create all that rain and all that stuff. Just by doing this, nature has its own crystallizing mechanism. The next step will crystallize, and the next step will crystallize, and the next step will crystallize. Now, where is this knowledge of yajna coming from? Yajna entirely is a Veda Praman. Of all the karmas that are specified, there are various kinds of karmas. Yajna is a type of karma that Ved is a praman of. Ved talks about these karmas. Therefore, from Ved, Ved is the source. यज्ञ का ज्ञान कहाँ से आया आपको? ऐसे यज्ञ करना है, ये नॉलेज कहाँ से आता है कि इसको ऐसे ही करते हैं? अगर आपको ये रिजल्ट चाहिए तो आप ऐसे ही करोगे उसको. ये ज्ञान कहाँ से आया? दैट इज वेद इज अ प्रमाण. और वो होता ही है, बिकॉज इफ इट्स अ प्रमाण मीन्स there is no way it cannot happen. It's knowledge. I cannot see the triggering, crystallizing factors. I cannot recognize them because I have a sensory limitation. I have a limitation of my knowledge. I have a limitation in my understanding. My senses will not see the cycle that gets triggered. It's beyond my personal recognition of knowledge. But Vedas are talking from a macrocosmic level, from the standpoint of creation. There you see the cycle gets established. Therefore, from Ved, which he talks about as Brahma, from Brahma, karma Brahmod bhavam vidhi. Know that karmas come from Brahma, Brahmaji, and Brahmakshara samudbhavam. And this Akshara Brahma, which is Sarvagatam, everywhere, that Akshara indestructible Brahman, that which is infusing Chetan in creation. Through the process, there is Chetan spread everywhere in creation. Everything in creation is Chetan. In our Vedic system, we do not see anything as inert, unlike science and material. There is no element possible without the Chetan being there. That Chetan we translate as consciousness. But that Chetan is Gyan. Without it, it is impossible to have any creation, anything existent. Without Chetan, there is existence is not possible. Therefore, he says, this Sarvagatam, everywhere, all pervasive, Nityam, always, that Brahman. Now, where is it centered? Where is it? Where is the fulcrum of it? Where is the cycle sustained? Where is the sustenance of the cycle coming from?
From Yajna.
Yes. Can you see the cycle?
Yes, we
You
can see
can
the
recognize that yajna becomes that pivotal factor, fulcrum, which is sustaining the Chetan in creation. Correct. Life is flourishing here. and it will continue to flourish till this Brahmaji's Kal is there. But if we resort to selfish, self oriented, consumeristic, without giving back to the environment, without putting our effort to grow our trees, to preserve water, to stop polluting air, take what is required. There is more than enough in creation to, to support life till the end. Bhagwan has put the material already there. We don't have to do anything about it. All we have to do is stop the excess. What is it? Stop the. What would be the right word? Stop the excessive
Hoarding.
hoarding of it. Stop the excessive abuse that we do in the form of indulgence, in the form of catering to our convenience, in the form of our likes and dislikes. मुझे अच्छा लगता है तो हम जब नहाते हैं तो शावर ऑन रहना चाहिए, मुझे कंफर्टेबल है, नॉट वंस इन अ वाइल, एवरी टाइम. So all these small things that we do at individual levels, we may think, Arey, it's just a little bit, I am only, how does it matter? But every individual matters, just as every drop makes an ocean. In the same way, every individual effort, however insignificant it may look to us, what is my role in the whole thing? After all, what am I? How much can I do? You are not insignificant in creation. You are a part of creation. You partake creation. Your food comes from creation. Your water comes from creation. Your existence is based on it. How can you be insignificant here? There must be a contribution back that is required from your end to sustain that cycle for the next generations. Forget the next generations. In our Vedic system, if your knowledge is not complete of who you are taking a rebirth back for your own sake, that you will come back in the same creation in another kal. At that time, you will need food and water again. You will need the soil, you will need pure air, you will need all these elements again for your sake also. You have to be very, very responsible in what you take from creation. Yet, there is no limit. Bhagwan, I mean, it's fascinating to see that if people stopped hoarding, we can eliminate, there are studies that are being now performed, we can eliminate hunger from the world. You can eliminate hunger from world within a few months. You can eliminate hunger if we stop creating our own personal, this narrowed vision of life. If we stop living such a narrowed vision of life, in creation, Bhagwan has provided enough for everybody. Nobody will have a lack because one seed produces how much food? Isn't it fascinating? In that one seed, look at the way the cycle is preserved in creation. That seed grows into a tree, and that tree produces so much fruit. We consume the fruit, we throw away the seed. That seed again produces another food for another being, another cycle, for another generation. The same endlessly going to be there if we do not disrupt this cycle. And we disrupt the cycle by our consumeristic attitude, our whole lifestyle that we have created in the name of convenience. However much we call ourselves advanced, there is a debate from the Vedic standpoint. If I take a Vedic standpoint, I cannot call our society advanced because this is not advancement. We are creating destruction. We are creating self destruction. We are triggering a self destructive cycle. If our actions are not corrected at any stage, every generation will have to keep a check on their actions. Otherwise, you will trigger a self-destructive cycle, and that self-destructive cycle would be destroying the planet, destroying the capacity for that Chetan Tattvam to express here, because if the Chetan can express, so are you here in this body. You have an expression of life because Bhagwan has created this according to your karma phala, which has to express. Why do you need the creation? Because in this creation, you now, as a human being, get a full opportunity, complete freedom, uninhibited freedom. There is That is why we are indulgent. That is why we are extremely selfish, is the right English word, the right place where you can say. Our selfishness destroys the harmony, that fragile balance of ecology. And so Bhagwan says, act even for the sake of my created creation. इस समझ से भी अपने कर्म करते रहो. If you do not understand Karam Yoga, see how Bhagwan always keeps coming down and down and down. If you do not understand Karam Yoga, means offer your action, it's a very subtle process for Chitta Shuddhi, then at least for the sake of sustenance of creation, the cycle that I have set forth, keep acting for that cycle. Evam in the 16th verse, which we'll do next time. Evam, in this manner, pravartitam chakram. I have set forth this chakram, pravartitam. Matlab, now it's a cyclical process. Creation is in a cyclical, self-sustaining cyclical process. Creation is in a self-sustaining cyclical process. I to have set, Bhagwan says, na anuvartaya iha, the one who doesn't follow here, anuvartaya, jo isko follow nahi karta. This wheel that I have set, chakram that I have set, aghayuhu indriya ramaha, agha ayuhu, uski life is in vain. Aghayuhu indriya ramaha, he lives in reveling in the indriyas. Agha ayuhu, his life is in vain. यूजलेस है उसकी लाइफ, फ्यूटाइल है, व्यर्थ बिता रहा है अपना जीवन, अपना जीवन व्यर्थ कर रहा है, अपना जीवन यूजलेस है उसका जीवन. He is not using the purpose of a human birth. What is the purpose of a human birth? पुरुषार्थ सिद्धि. उसका जीवन व्यर्थ से बीत रहा, that's the right word. उसका जीवन व्यर्थ बीतेगा, उसका एक जीवन तो गया, यूजलेस, कुछ नहीं लेके आएगा. What will happen? मोघम पार्थ सजीवति. Absolutely in vain he lives. O Parth, O Arjun, he is living in a useless way. Aghayuhu, he just goes on creating, living in a lower state. He goes on creating papam for himself by reveling only in indriyas. O Partha sajivati, sahajivati. Such a person who doesn't follow this chakram here, he lives in vain, useless life, meaningless life. Meaningless is not even such a right word. He is just he's wasting his life opportunity that Bhagwan has given the creation for. Uske karam phal ke liye srishti mein aaya wo. What will he go back with? Nothing in his hand. He will waste his human birth and human potential. That is what is 16th verse. There will be little few more points. This is the gist of it. If there are in the Bhashyam that come, because Bhashyam gives us a lot of clarity further, we'll take it up in the next class. Okay? Especially this part, iti smritehe yajnaha apurvam. And what is yajna called? Ritvik yajmanayoho vyaparaha karma. Where there is a ritvik and there is a yajman, uske vyapar se jo karam hota hai, usko yajna kehte hain. Beautiful words. I'll end here. Quite a lot of, I think, intense and material-wise, a lot of knowledge here. Is that okay? Any questions? Is it clear?
Yes, Deepti ji, I think only you can tell whether it's clear to us after listening to our answers.
No, I'm sure it is. If its first hearing is clear, then that's good enough. It can only go on expanding itself. Okay. Yeah, correct. Nature provides for everyone's pate, not for peti. Correct. Peti is greed. आपके box के लिए Nanak says that. Every Mahatma has said. This is Shastra. Whoever has the Shastra Gyan will have this essential knowledge that nature has enough provisions. बहुत है उसके reservoir में for the entire creation if man stops disrupting the cycle. Okay. Should we end here? No questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll conclude the class.
Thank you, Gita ji.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you so much, Deepti ji.
Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayaः. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Incidentally, the meaning of this verse is also in this spirit of Yajna. Let's just cover it. We have a little time. Okay, 1 second. Because just if you know it already, we'll just revise it. Can't see, I think, at this point still. No. Yeah, now you can see.
Yes, Deepti ji.
Yes, Deepti ji.
So, swasti prajabhyah. For all the beings, swasti. May there be happiness. Paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha. May the rulers, means those in the power to take decisions, whoever takes the decisions, may these rulers rule the earth by righteous means. Paripalayantam means they may rule, they may palan kare for the sake of the people. How? Nyayena margena. Through righteous means. Nyay se. Us raste se. Then what? Mahim Mahishaha. Mahishaha is the rulers of this earth. Let them rule in righteous ways for the sake of the people on the earth. Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam. Let there always be welfare for animals like cows. And Brahmanaha means men of wisdom, those who have knowledge. Those who have knowledge will lead the society from the front by telling the society what is right and what is not right, what is to be done, what is not to be done. Therefore, they are in the in the beginning at the position of leading the humanity, and cow etc are the ones that we depend on completely for our nourishment. So may there be welfare. We think about the welfare of all animals, plants, and those who are of knowledge. Shubhamastu, let there be welfare for them at nityam, at all times. Lokaha samasta sukhino bhavantu. Let all the beings be happy. Kale varshatu parjanyaha. At the proper time, proper kal, varshatu, may rain. Parjanyaha, the clouds may rain at the proper time. Prithvi sasya shalini, let the earth be full of healthy grains. Means it should flourish with nourishing food, annam. Uh, Deshaha ayam kshobarahitaha. May the country be free of famine, which means if the cycle of yajna is sustained, everybody will benefit who live in that Kabaya country, because the yajna will have a scope of expansion. It can cover the whole earth, done differently, different places. Brahmanaha santu nirbhayaha. May those men of freedom be fearless. Means let the rulers not curb down the voices that protect creation. Let the rulers not be so fanatic that these principles cannot be incorporated in the world, that they will have fear to even speak about them, that Shastra Vidya they should inhibit themselves, because the society will not accept, the rulers will allow other thoughts to interfere, other thoughts to express, other methods of living can be talked about, but you cannot talk about the Vedic lifestyle. If let such a situation never arise, because this is a knowledge which sustains life and gives moksha. In every manner, it is beneficial to human in every way, at every time. Therefore, this prayer is for the benefit of all this. And that is what we do. Okay? All right.
Dhanyavad,
Beautiful,
Dipti.
Deepti ji.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Bless.
I thought in the context it will make more sense to bring the prayer up. So thank you everyone. We'll see you.
Thank you so much, Deepti ji. Thank you.
The broadcast of Facebook Live has stopped.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om, Deepti ji.
Hari Om.